One example of how this can go wrong is an example given by Nicholas Humphrey. Are you familiar with cave art paintings? No doubt you are. Jaynes also wrote on that. Humphrey, in the late 1990s, pointed out, he's a psychologist and he published in an archaeology journal. This was much disputed and very controversial. Pointed out that the standard conception among archaeologists is that these cave art paintings, dating between 30,000 and 8,000, it's a very rough estimate, BC, must have been produced, must have been the product of early humans who had very advanced communicating and symbolizing skills, because otherwise they would not have been able to produce these paintings. That's what you find in your own case. If you try to make paintings like that, you'll have to try very hard. It's a skill that you need to train. You have to think about precisely how to paint these things to get this naturalistic effect, things like that. But that's using our own intuitions based on our own self-image about what it takes to produce these pictures. Is it safe to project these intuitions onto cave art painters? According to Humphrey, it is not, because there's a trap that you can fall into. He found a case of a very heavily autistic girl called Nadia, who had a naturalistic drawing talent, producing pictures that are the spitting image, give or take a bit, of these cave art drawings. But Nadia is not a typical example of a human being with highly advanced communication and symbolization skills. On the contrary, she's an autistic person who had a language of only 3 or 4 words, something like that. What is more, once Nadia grew older, from let's say 4 to 8, that's about a period that's being covered in the literature, she acquired a modicum of language. She learned to speak slightly better. And in the process, I'm not sure there is a causal connection, but in the process, her naturalistic drawing talent deteriorated. Interesting, right? I'm not suggesting, Lawrence Humphrey, that cave art painters were autistic people. That's not the point. Just that your intuitions can go wrong. And I also apply that. That's the paper that Marcel referred to. I also apply that to the case of the ancient Mycenaean, the Achaean Greeks, so to speak, the Mycenaean Greeks, in a paper published in Philosophical Psychology called Greek Zombies. That's where Jaynes came in my life, at least in my academic life. I think Jaynes is totally right when he insisted that we should resist the temptation to apply present-day intuitions to these ancient minds, as we normally do when we translate the Iliad, it is in English, when we translate the Iliad in contemporary English. Usually all the bicameral parts are brushed away or brushed under, so to speak, in the process of modernizing. We shouldn't be doing that. That's projecting present-day intuitions in the wrong way. Since then, by that I mean since the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, so the day in which Julian Jaynes was doing most of his creative work, philosophy of mind and psychology has changed. And it has changed for the good, so to speak, from the point of view of the Jaynesian.